And now I'm switching to English, which will be our language for tonight. My name is Zuzana Števková, and I'll be talking to the cyber nymphs. And before I introduce them, I'll just briefly tell you something about how the evening is going to be organized. We'll have approximately 90 minutes, and there will be like half an hour presentation. And this will be followed by me asking questions and you asking questions. So don't worry, you will have plenty of time to ask the cyber nymphs. And I'm going to now introduce them individually, since they're not always working as a duo. Oh, please, if you could, switch off your cell phones. Thank you. So to my left is Ewelina Jarosz. They are a hydrosexual researcher, and I've learned that they were really influenced by the Baltic Sea, where they grew up with algae. Am I pronouncing it correctly? Or algae. They really do interdisciplinary research. So they're a researcher in both humanities, but also participate in performance art. And at the moment, they teach at the Department of Media and Culture Research in Krakow University. And also they are collaborating with Post-Humanist Hub in Sweden, Linköping. And to my left, it's Justyna Górowska, a hydro-feminist performative artist, and also social activist. Fun fact, she fell in love with water creatures of Skava River. So we'll talk more about that, about falling in love with all sorts of creatures, not only the aquatic ones. And also she's also based in Krakow, where she teaches at Intermedia Department at Jan Matejko Academy of Fine Arts. So without further delay, I'm passing the word over to the duo of our wonderful hydrosexuals. So
thank you very much. Thank you so much for this generous introduction. Yes, so we are the cyber nymphs, and I'm also known as underwater activist.
Can we ask for a slide?
Yay.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yay. Maybe the next one. Mm-hmm. And love, water has always been a great love of my life. And before I started collaborating with Justyna in the Cyber Nymphs duo, I was collaborating with my then partner, Sofia, and as a mermaid, and it was all about the queer love in the post-human times. And we created songs, zines, and we tried to reinstall folklore into the context of more than human humanities. So basically we explored merfolk to support the LGBTQ people in Poland. And now my interest is in queer feminist blue post-humanities.
So my name is Justyna Górowska, but like everyone called me WetMeWild. This is my alter ego. Since 2017, I've been performing as the incarnation of the water nymph, which is very free inspiration of this water creature originating from Slavic mythology. In recent years, I have resolved around the topics connected with water. I'm very into the microplastic pollution, and usually I'm a kind of guide in the projects where I perform or create some artifacts and try to use the emerging technologies like augmented reality or virtual reality. And since 2021, we've been collaborating with Ewelina as an art research duo, Cyber Nymphs. And yeah, we are artists, we are researchers, we are teachers. and we try to exchange our skills because we have totally two different backgrounds we're coming from. We try to build the knowledge and create this possible new blue planet or idea of the blue planet as like a survival boat, I would say.
Yeah, and we aim to build art and science community focused on water crisis in what is now called the hydroscene. This is a term that was coined by Australian curator Bronwyn Bailey-Charteris to provide an alternative for some, so to say, limited understanding of the Anthropocene and the limited visions of the future multi-species planet. So the hydroscene is the epoch of water and epoch of collaboration between watery thinkers, watery artists and theorists. And with this having said, we are trying to bring together artists, researchers, activists and scholars around the watery topics and infuse it with fun, sense of humor and also hope and entertainment if possible, with these heavy topics that we are dealing with.
So we also try to delve into digital art and eco-technologies because we imagine that they can be new tool of communicating this ecological crisis. And since the beginning, we continue the work of Annie Sprinkle and Beth Stevens, Californian artists who launched ecosexual movement in 2008.
Yes, and in 2023, we launched the hydrosexual movement in art. And I guess we want to bring more love and care into the watery topics and practices.
Okay, that's sweet.
Yeah,
okay.
And this is our first, I guess, big project that we've collaborated together on, Cyber Wedding to the Brine Shrimp. And maybe before I say a few words about this project, I explain a little bit more about the ecosexual. So the ecosexual is a term meaning like expanding our understanding of what sex can be in culture in the context of the global climate crisis, in the context of queer understanding of diversity. And Annie Sprinkle and Beth Stevens, they've been developing different art formats to kick off the ecosexual movement. And one of these formats is the ecosexual wedding. So the whole story started in 2008, so to say, when they married the earth with lots of other gifted and talented collaborators, performers, who instead of giving like material gifts, they were offering their love and care and performance. And since that time, they've been marrying different nature entities, such as seas, lakes, mountains, fogs. And they try to redefine the institution of marriage, so to say, to provide a platform for ecological messages about the climate crisis. And also what is important, I guess, it's like shifting our attitude from treating the earth, as a mother, some kind of overexploited and one-sided metaphor reflecting our one-sided relationship towards the earth when we only take. And instead of this metaphor, which is criticized by the contemporary queer movement, but also it was very important for the ecofeminism, but within the context of neoliberalism and capitalism, we can have a separate discussion about it. So instead of as mother, which is also still relevant, but they offer treating the earth as a lover. So the relationship can be mutual, and we can treat the earth as a partner. Maybe Justyna will tell more about our performance.
Okay, let me Okay, another slide. Okay, so here you can see some documentation from our wedding. We decided to host our cyber wedding to the brine shrimp at the Spire Jetty, which is the classic land art work by Robert Smithson from 1970s. At the time of the creation, it was like revolutionary art piece that was trying to expand the art beyond the gallery walls. Initially, it was submerged in water. Now, due to the climate change, the water's edges is approximately like 1 kilometer from the Spire Jetty. So we decided to use this place this wedding in this very symbolic place, and we decided to use the spiral as the symbol for the wedding, which was on our necklaces instead of the rings. We used the wedding necklaces, and it has additional function because we could scan the necklaces. So the spiral was kind of the target that triggered the brine shrimp imaginary. So they appeared during the wedding through the augmented reality.
Mm-hmm. And maybe a few more words about the brine shrimp, because maybe this is something interesting. These are one of the most oldest inhabitants of the Great Salt Lake, and the knowledge about the catastrophic ecological situation of the Great Salt Lake was already circulating in the different American media at that time, when we were there working with Annie and Beth in 2021. And we thought that it might be a kind of thought-provoking, just to give the attention to the less familiar companion species than, like dogs, cats, pets that we love, and instead that we should focus on what is crucial for the survival of the whole ecosystem. Because if the brine shrimp dies, then the birds that are migrating and feeding upon them and other species will also die. So this was also about the telling story of the Great Salt Lake, a very difficult situation, grappling with climate crisis in a different way, using art, using unexpected, and also, yes, providing some kind of ethical approach to visualizing them in the post-nature context.
So now maybe there's a time to show you the teaser, because we are working on the documentary, which present the performance or the wedding itself, but also all the experience we had that time at the Great Salt Lake.
With artists and with scientists from the Great Salt Lake, biologists. Mm-hmm.
She's so cute, isn't she?
Oh, hello, Artemisa. Well, we have to learn to love the dying world too.
Jedziemy w stronę Spiral Jetty, jedziemy zobaczyć Wielkie Jezioro Słony i jego wspaniałe mieszkanki, artemię, krewetki solarkowe. Nie możemy się już doczekać tego spotkania, na które czekałyśmy ponad pół roku. Właśnie, w krewetka wyschniętym jeziorze. Pięknie!
These dark spots, these are the eggs of the brine shrimp. So,
No way.
like, they're even smaller than, like, the grains of sand. And so these are what repopulate the lake in the spring. So all of the little brine shrimps. So there is a little bit of sand in here, but these little teeny tiny ones, those are all brine shrimp eggs. And I always think of them as like a little time capsule because they can stay in the sediments, they can be dried on the shore, and they can even hatch hundreds of years later.
Justyna and Ewelina, we now pronounce you married to the bride shrimp. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Annie and Beth, we now pronounce you married to the brine shrimp. Congratulations.
Okay.
Woo!
May we kiss the brides?
Yeah, let's kiss the brides.
Can we toss the bouquets?
Yes, toss the bouquet. Cheers to the bride shrimp.
I love you, shrimp.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So, what happened 7 months later?
Surprise, surprise.
So,
We
we
got
became
pregnant.
mothers. So we gave a birth to the hybrid baby shrimp with the help of 3D printing technology and a biodegradable material based on the cornstarch. Since then, we pop out a couple more, and we perform with them. We present them during the exhibitions, and here you can see two of them. One of the babies visit the Prague in Václav Spala Gallery. And the babies for us are very kind of the statement, I would say. It's provoking the question about possibilities of interspecies families, especially in the context of this six mass extinction of the species caused by the human. This is one of these ideas which is behind.
Yeah, and paradoxically, what is also important is the context of, I would say, the feminist anti-natalism, because we already know that we live on the earth that is overpopulating and the perspectives are not too optimistic, I guess. So these babies are also to provoke the reflection on reproducing and having, like babies, like the human babies. And I guess they are helping us to imagine the future of togetherness on the planet. And what is also important, I guess, that we maybe should focus on our attention more on how to take care of what already exists on the planet instead of like reproducing and reproducing.
Okay, art, science, and blue humanities. So what from the beginning is very important for us is the collaboration with the other specialists from the different disciplines. So we are coming from the culture, humanity backgrounds, but we are very happy to collaborate with the scientists and activists. So there are sample of the collaboration we have in these last 2 years. This is the poster from the Deep Sea Babies Conference we were organizing as a cyber duo with the university we were working at in Krakow.
Yeah, and then the visual inspiration draws from our hybrid babies. But this conference, Deep Sea Babies Navigating Between Utopias and Dystopias for the Blue Planet, was about making a transdisciplinary approach to the global and local water climate issues, like a more common and popular practice. So we brought together multidisciplinary artists and blue humanities scholars. Blue humanities is a very recent, I would say in the Polish context, a very recent subdiscipline of the environmental humanities. So it was very important for us to go beyond the traditional format of the conference when, like people come and there are talking heads and they go, you know, just they're rushing for the train. So it was important for us to really focus on these crucial topics that we are trying to share a common ground in a very, I would say sometimes, innovative way. And for that we need the blue humanities scholars such as Stacy Alaimo, such as Cecilia Osber, such as Astrida Neymanis, and many, many other names that I would like to recall in this context, because these are like important figures for what we are doing.
Oh, this is the launching of the Hydrosex movement during the conference, but we're gonna speak about that a little bit more later. And here you can see two other collaboration we have, because it's ongoing. So on the left you can see this conversation we took part in the National Gallery in Sopot. A really amazing project where the artists, the activists and scientists talk together about the future of the oceans and seas. So about anything connected with the water crisis. Luckily, we're gonna have some future project with the oceanographer and marine biologist from the Polish
Academy of Science.
Yeah, exactly. And then the post-humanities hub.
This is another example of this transdisciplinary approach. We are now trying to connect with the eco and hydrosexual perspective. So this is a poster from the webinar, Eco is the New Sexual, a performative transmedia webinar, where we use this platform for of the very, very, I would say, multi-diverse humanities, how to say it, institution, the Post-Humanities Hub at the Linköping University, to bring together, again, Annie, Beth, and us, cybernymphs, in the context of more than humanities discourses.
We also, as a cybernymphs, we launched this project we call Blue Humanities Archive, which is in the form of the website, where we collect the interdisciplinary project. I would say that this is kind of the project on the intersection of digital arts, eco-technologies, environmental humanities, where we try to build an online archive, trying to look for new methods of the documentary endangered species, or new form of communication, of communicating the water crisis or depleting biodiversity. But as well, we really hope to through this website build a communal space. We already linking many people through this project. So our hope is also to build kind of like networking. This is the picture. On the picture, you can see the launch of the website, which was in the form of the exhibition during the conference. And maybe you can see.
Justyna already mentioned that communication is important for us, so we also use the technology and the visual aspects to communicate the very important issue of lowering environmental costs of digital art productions. And we are very aware that this website is, of course, connected still to the carbon fueled infrastructure, but eventually we really hope for like making a kind of a backup from 0-1 binary code to the DNA structure, which is
digital data storage.
Digital data storage, which is, I would say, can take a lot of data, but on much lower environmental costs. And what is also important in the case of this project is how it looks like, because we're wanting to give the message about the lowering environmental cost. We were inspired by the early internet aesthetics, which you can see with this 8 bits, like aesthetics, and it is combined with this contemporary fluidity effects. And there is an ongoing open call, so if there is any of you here on the audience who explores digital art and eco-technologies and is into the watery topics, you are very welcome to submit your proposal, your work through our website.
Okay, so here we are. What is hydrosex? So as we mentioned before, we are the offspring of the ecosexual movement, and we had this great opportunity to perform our hydrosex manifesto during the conference that was organized by Annie Sprinkle and Beth Stevens in Performance Space in New York. The conference called Exploring Earth as a Lover, Ecosex and the City in New York City. It was great pleasure for us to become part of this family, and also to meet these pioneers in the third wave of feminists, the sex-positive feminists. You can see on the picture not only Annie Sprinkle, but Veronica Vera and Veronica Hart, who created in 80s Club 90, which were a support for sex workers and this sex-positive feminists. And the project you can see also was a part, this Ecosex sidewalk is a part of the Veronica Vera idea,
Yeah, and what you can see on the picture here is the example of another art form that Annie and Beth have been developing for many years, and this is the Ecosex sidewalk cleaning, where it gathers sex experts and who want to expand our understanding of the health issues in the context of the global environmental crisis. Like, for example, like providing the knowledge that breast cancer might be caused by environmental issues, just to give a small example. We were also a part of it as a hydro experts, giving free advice to people, bypassers, other artists, which I guess is important in the American context of the private healthcare system, to do these things for free.
And then we perform. This is the documentation from the Hydrosex manifesto. We perform in the mixed reality, so we were scanning our bodies to read 7 of the chapters of our manifesto. We're surrounded by digital jellyfish, moon jellyfish, popular inhabitant of the Baltic Sea, and we were also surrounded by the sounds. It was the sonification of their DNA. We decided to perform naked because we thought that this is kind of like empowering the gesture of reclaiming our bodies from the corporeality we are living. And
we felt safe there. This is also important. It was a safe queer space and feminist space.
And then here we can see the hydrosexual manifesto, and it's 7 chapters. Obviously, we won't read it, and you can access it through the website. But maybe we can just tell a little bit about what is in the manifesto,
Yeah. So we explain who we are, that we are the hydrosexuals, the aquaphiliacs, who explore some characteristic of water, such as the water as a non-binary transitional substance that is necessary for every being existing to survive, not only a human being.
We also believe that we are living in the hydrocene, and then we should fight against this patriarchal capitalism, which affect on aquatic environments.
And what is important, I guess, is also the context of the reproductive rights, to understand them better within the new frames of environmental humanities and mass species extinction loss, caused by humans.
And what is very important for us, we want to build a community of people, educators, artists, scholars, scientists,
And more.
and more.
And we
We
want to
invited-
build it with you if you are interested in hydrosex. Yeah?
At the last slide of this presentation, there are gonna be the QR codes, so you can scan it, and then you're gonna find the website we designed, where's the manifesto, and also they're gonna be linked to the application in augmented reality. We call it Hydrosex app, which allows you to experience the Hydrosex manifesto in the space. So you can use your phone, and through the camera of your phone, you can read the chapters of the manifesto which appear on the floor, and then you're gonna be surrounded by the jellyfish, and I think it's worth it. So at the last slide, you can try it.
Yeah, and here is just, I guess we are short in time, so just briefly, what is a hydrosexual? This slide provides a variety of definitions. It can be an identity, but also it can be a strategy in environmental art. It can be a grassroots movement, an expanded concept of sexuality, and the future-making sex utopia, like for all of us who live in a very dystopic reality.
Yeah, and we really don't want to be like too conservative about what we understand through the hydrosexual or hydrosexuality. So we always welcome people to find their own definition of how they understand it. So, and yeah, and this is the last slide. Here you can see the community of hydrosexuals with use of AI. So we are in this like imaginary place, and then you can see all the collaboration, all the collaborators, the people we are working with.
And one of them is here at the audience. Veronica is also included in this Hydrosex drama, which was made in collaboration with AI.
And then we have a really short video at the end with the QR code.
composer of the soundscape, Nymph's Orgasm. So sorry. Yeah, it was composed by Agatka Polak. So yeah, we are sending you a big hug from the scene, Agatka, if you will watch this later. Yeah. And I guess that's it for our presentation.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. And oh yeah, please, clap, clap, clap. And I think that this is going to be real fun if you all download the application, and tomorrow we'll just flood Ji.hlava with squids and jellyfish and wow. Okay, yeah. So we discussed the format of this talk a little bit beforehand, and we agreed with Justyna and Ewelina that it should be fun. So here's a fun question: do you have pets? I was thinking about fish in a fish tank, but maybe that's like too limited and in a box. So what are your pets like?
I mean, we have a cysts of the brine shrimp,
Yeah.
but they're still waiting to hatch.
Yeah.
So now we are incubating them.
Yeah.
We see what's gonna happen. So
It was they were a gift from the scientists from the Great Salt Lake Institute, a part of educating the students, but also maybe in this context it's worth mentioning that what we did, we attempted to reclaim the imagination of the brine shrimp from the context of the American culture that commodified these water creatures, because they were mostly known to American kids as sea monkeys. So they've been sold to American kids since the late 50s, and they were anthropomorphized. They had, they looked like humans, and they were attached. They were advertised through the comic stripe, and it was really a part of the entertaining industry and really money-making thing.
yeah, but first of all, we definitely don't call them pets.
Yeah.
And then there's this ethical question about if we should put the water and some salt and algae to hatch, so they could hatch. So since we get this eggs, we still didn't decide honestly to do it. Yeah, I think they probably stay incubating and.
Yeah, but you have
Okay, I have a
buddy.
4. But he's not a pet. It's my 4 baby. I have a dog, or dog lives with me at my apartment, and he's my baby. So definitely, I was very close to other species. I'm very lucky because my parents were always surrounded by animals, and they were really treated as a family of members of our family. So I think many of my worldview is really based on this experience of being in a big family with other non-human animals. So, but I would not call them pets.
Yeah, sorry about that. That was a bit of a provocation. I think I should have used the term that you refer to, Donna Haraway's term, the accompanying species. I think this could actually lead me to the next question, which is connected directly to the wedding, the brine shrimp wedding. I was wondering, when I saw the video for the first time, how did you go about the consent of the brine shrimp, since we obviously cannot ask the brine shrimp whether they agreed to be wed to you as humans.
There was a question. We have a guest who was like in the middle of our vows. She said like, stop. I have a question, or what about the consent? And this was the question from
Art Uncle Newton Harrison, another major figure in the history of American land
But he
art.
was not so known as a Robert Smithson, but he was like very famous land
Probably
art
more
artist.
important in the context of the history of ecological art, because in the 70s, he and his wife, they've been doing the art research projects already addressing the environmental and ecological topics. Yes, but coming back to the consent, it's a part of the performance. But I guess after many people have asked this question, it's a very important question. But well, you will never know if you don't have enough knowledge. So here where is science so important, because we really feel like we need to learn more about different species, because this is our human projection about consent, and it's made in a fun and like loving and caring manner. But I guess it's insufficient, like from my later post, like reflection, and this is what I've learned. Maybe it's insufficient, and more science is needed. But here, what is art for? Art is to bring, I would say, like to change perspective in humans, in how we behave and how we feel. So bring more empathy, more attention to relationality between humans and other species, especially the wildlife. This is such an interesting field to learn about. So I guess this is just the beginning, the first step to explore how different species feel, how they react, and do they really need us humans? We are also very aware that this wedding is also might also be understand as farewell to the world that will be never regained.
I also think that for those who didn't see the documentation of the performance, this ceremony, like we called it wedding, but for me it was very much kind of like commitments, and we have this vow where we given ourselves and we promise to protect the biodiversity and to care and to use our knowledge and skills we have to educate the people and to care, So I looking at this project, even though it's like art project, I looking on this like from very personal perspective. So yeah, it was fun. It's kind of like things we do crazy things sometimes in art, but this was for me very, very personal, and yeah.
Maybe in terms of consent, another aspect of this art project should be articulated here. Like, we use technology not to harm the living being. At least we tried. So the Artemia in VR was modeled in the Unity program, and and then Justyna worked to make it a part of the augmented reality layer added to the documentary.
And also we share with this app with the scientists from the Westminster University. So I hope they're using it for educative purposes. So we left couples of the targets with the sparrows, so they had an application. If they wanted, they can use it at the university.
So we can have more weddings in the future, maybe.
Maybe some divorces even are necessary.
Yeah, if the consent is revoked. So what happened to the babies? Because you said that they were 7 months. Did you say? Why 7?
No, they're like we give the birth to the first baby 7 months after the wedding, but after that, I think how many babies we have?
Countless.
Countless number. But some left with the uncles and aunts, and they are on the ward, so they are like, they are taking
And now
care.
we are, like since there's this autumn time with a lot of people get viruses and cold. We thought that maybe to protect them, we are usually we are not very protective about our babies. Because they are true talents of stage and performance. So usually they go with us and perform. They were part of the webinar, and Justyna is working to make them unmuted finally with AI probably. But now we just thought that maybe it will be safe for them to stay at home and incubate a little bit more.
Okay, I promised that we'll be talking about love. So here's a question: what was the initial moment of falling in love with the things you do, or is there such a moment? Was there a moment when you suddenly realize you're passionately in love with the hydro commons or the world of the aquatic creatures, or how did that happen?
Mm-hmm. Do you want to answer first, or?
I don't know. I mean, I think if it goes about the hydrosexuality, I think I always was a hydrosexual, and I think we just find a term for this what we experience. And I mean here what I understand through the through this is that I always love to swim naked. And I remember I was also lucky to have like kind of the nudist. My parents were like every summer we went at the river, and then you know they let us swim naked, and also they were swimming naked. And then I remember loving walking barefoot on the wet, mossy like grass, So there are these things which connected with the water that give you this kind of excitement, and maybe this is kind of the pleasure, maybe there's some erotic in this experience. So this is, I think, this thing that's give me the vice, for doing more and exploring it more in different ways, now when we, specialize in the different disciplines, we're looking for a different way to express this. But yeah, I think this memory and first experience of being in the contact with water give me this need, to talk about it and do something with it.
And I think that if we are in love with our ideas, we can protect them better. We can be more brave about them. So I guess this perspective, this passion drive attitude is necessary to add something to the environmental movement, whether it is in academia or arts, in politics, etc. So on the one side, we have, like the such feeling as angriness, which is understandable, and of course we also need to be angry with the global situation about the climate. But also when you have love and passion inside, it makes a whole difference. It's not only about sex. Of course, sex makes the world going round. That's the thing that attracts people to belong to the movement, whether it is eco or hydrosexual. In fact, this is one family. But yes, I guess the attitude and how you approach what you care for, it's important. And with me, I guess this is a small anecdote. This year, I was having a short vacation with a friend at the Baltic Sea, and we were swimming naked in the afternoon. And then there was this moment. Maybe it sounds like an utopia, but swimming naked, it's such a pleasurable thing to do. There is like for a moment you feel there is no boundary between you and the water. You and the water are one, and it's a very orgasmic experience, and it can be even more pleasurable than sex with other human beings, And this is what explains like the expanded, like notion of sexuality. It goes beyond the genital contacts between humans. It goes through, like the sensual experience of the world.
Yay. I'm all for it. Actually, when you were talking, I just realized I am a hydrosexual myself. I didn't just know it before I came to this lecture. I had many very watery, aquatic, orgasmic fantasies. So
maybe you're hydro-curious.
I'm very hydro-curious, of course. Yes, and what I love about the hydrosexuality in general is this queer aspect, which you were also mentioning. In your manifesto or among your definitions, there was something like that. Water is non-binary. I love that. And there's a lot of sea creatures that change sex and do fantastic stuff, like the seahorses, the fathers, the male pregnancies and all that. And it's also interesting, like why these sea creatures change sex. That it is what is triggering them. It can be social status, for instance. I love that. Like once you remove a male from a certain, I don't know which fish it is. If you have a bunch of fish that is led by the male and you remove the male, the largest female will take the place and change into a male.
Yay, such a good question. Thank you.
So yes, please elaborate on that if you can, if you want to.
Would you like to start on?
We should say also about the reproductive system, the brine shrimp.
Tell about the reproductive.
But I don't know if I'm good enough in English to explain it. I don't know all these terms.
Well, there in our
Documentary.
in our documentary there is an animation. We call it informal, like everything you would like to know about the brine shrimp sex, but you were afraid to ask. And we are trying to, retell the story, not in medical, biological terms, but in a, like fun and loving manner, how they make love, how they reproduce. And it's really interesting also that they have two models of reproduction. They can reproduce by fertilization and also through cysts. And these two models, they depend on the external environmental condition. So the female, she predicts whether it is possible to give birth to naupli, to the free-swimming naupli, or maybe let's wait for the better times. And then the cysts are produced. And they can survive in a very extreme conditions because they are very, very resilient. So this is something we can learn from the brine shrimp in this, like times of droughts, warming, global warming, etc., etc. There are lots of interesting things, as you just mentioned, to learn from the water, creatures. But the queer aspect is also about making the environmental movement more diverse, to to make it more diverse and open for non-binary trans people. When I mentioned at the beginning that the mother nature is not maybe it's not sufficient, it's not enough, it was also about the ideas of the ecofeminists, because they had this tendency maybe to over-essentialize womanhood, to reduce womanhood to biological aspects, while the hydrosexuals and ecosexuals, they are like beyond gender, all gender. So I guess it's about bringing as much diversity and also attention to vulnerability through this diversity, of course, I guess.
Yeah, but about the brine shrimp, I also continue. Yeah. So there is a situation where there is no male around. So the female brine shrimp are able to fertilize themselves. So they don't need a male at all.
Parthenogenesis.
Yeah, this also I want to. Yeah.
Okay, so this brings us to maybe more political stuff, because I mean we want to talk fun, but we also want to stay with the grave and troublesome reality of the planet. And I was thinking about, you were already mentioning the like the reproductive rights and issues, and also the over-essentializing of mothering. And this brings me to the current situation in Poland. So my question would be, I mean, what can your utopia or utopian thinking give to Polish mothers or people, or women, or people who are forced into reproduction by the current regime?
I don't know if you know the situation in Poland, but the government is like right-wing conservative government forced this law, anti-abortion law. It's really difficult now. Like there are many situations where the woman in very difficult moments when their life is at risk are not given a chance to survive, because the doctors are forced to keep the fetus even though it's died inside. So I think the idea of the brine shrimp, it came a little bit from this. Like, this is what also us trying to cope with the situation.
Also, well, it might be interpreted as a reaction to the enforced, like reducing women to reproducing machines. I am, you know, like I am a queer person, I'm a queer lesbian, and probably I will not give birth to human child, but this is my choice. Reimagining the society, I guess that might be a part of answering to your question with this movement, which puts so much emphasis on imagination and how you can, you know, like materialize your imagination through digital art, through eco-technologies. We want to show that the society is not only about mothers and not only about wives, not only about sisters, but there are plenty of other options to explore, and our society is really changing shape, I guess, and it's, you know, de-essentialization, I guess, and bringing as much cultural diversity as possible to the future of human and environmental rights.
Okay, this brings me to another question about art and activism. How would you characterize your endeavors in terms of activism, or could it be artivism? I don't know.
Well, academia, we both work at the universities, leave you a little space for activism. So I guess what we are doing, like the transdisciplinary art projects that try to connect scientists, artists, activists, learn from different sources to go beyond one disciplinary approach, I would treat it as a sort of activism of its own type, probably. Before I started work at the university, I had a stronger connection with activism. So there were plenty of occasions to protest on the streets in terms, you know, of reacting to the ultra-conservative right-wing government in Poland. But now if you want to be in contact with activism, I guess you, within this position that we held now at the academies, you have to redefine it somehow according to your possibilities.
Yeah.
So education can also be activism. When you know, like insist on the new topics, on this post and more, and then humanities perspectives, I guess is also a sort of activism, especially that in Poland, the higher education it's a bit old-fashioned, I would say, delicately. And you really need to invest your personal effort and energy to make a change with other who thinks alike, I guess.
And for me, I think I really believe in this idea of social engaged art, and I believe that the art can be a tool of the social change. And this is what we are practicing together, and this is what we are teaching our students. Yeah, I think that art is, especially when it's like community-based and very collaborative, and when you build this alliance, you know, with the people from the different disciplines, it has really amazing power, you know. And I see it. I mean, since we're working together, there is a huge interest in what we are doing, and it's a different way of telling about environmental problems. Yeah, so yeah, we are activists on the fields we are specialized, but also in my personal life, I'm like activist every day. It's my small personal decision, for example, about not using plastic or packaging, yeah, or you know, don't buy the new clothes in the sweatshops or things like that, yeah. So this is the also activist is really important, and yeah.
I'm not sure about the time, but it might be already time to pass the mic over to you. If you have any pressing questions, all the things you wanted to know about hydrosex and were afraid to ask, now it's the time to ask. Yes. And then we have a mic, so please wait now.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I was shaking to ask you questions. Because just a little fun fact, I didn't check the program of the festival before I came here because I love the festival and I know it's always going to be good. And I'm currently wearing a bracelet that says hydrofeminist.
Wow.
So I am very excited to be here and I really like your work. I have 7,000 questions, but I will just have one very easy one because I'm sure that other people want to ask something as well. and that is why did you, or how did you come to the decision of the brine shrimp being your partner?
I think that Ewelina should tell the story because she was the one who initiated this idea, yeah?
I guess because of the associative imagination. Well, before I became a queer hydro-feminist blue post-humanities scholar, I was studying for 10 years. I dedicated 10 years of my intellectual effort to studying American modern art. Now boring.
Wow.
But it was probably at some point it was necessary to understand the context of the place that we were staging our wedding. So because my collaboration with Annie and Beth began a little bit earlier than Justyna's, so I was already, you know, like in dialogue with them, what we could do together. And so I was thinking that maybe, you know, like reframing and queering Spiral Jetty and opening a new chapter for Spiral Jetty could be a good starting point. Since, you know, this land artwork is a kind of problematic, its legacy is problematic, but also if you use your imagination, it can become a testimony, I would say, during your wedding, which was the case of this wedding to the spiral, that there was a voice given by our friend who like queered the jetty and made it like give it a voice of the land acknowledgement for Goshute, Shoshane and Dine people and plenty of other things. Well, if you look from the global perspective, from the airplane perspective, in some way, the jetty may resemble so many things, like the dinosaur skeleton or the shrimp as we know them, like the most familiar shrimps. So I was just, you know, like having this association that, well, the jetty resemble a very tiny shrimp, in fact. And after I discovered this, I started to study the microscale of the water, because Robert Smithson, he was studying the macro scale, flying around in the airport, expanding his penis in the shape of the jetty, etc., etc. So I thought that, well, we have this new materialist feminist discourses. Let's study what this water is made of, and it's made of the brine shrimp, and that's how we started to, you know, fall in love with the brine shrimp, I guess.
Thank you very much. I think that's a really nice way to plan a wedding. First you pick the venue and then you pick the partner.
Yeah.
Somehow, yes. We're at the spot now.
Different ways.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Thank you for the presentation. I have a question from the pleasure activism nature type of category, and I was curious if you have any advices, any hydrosexual advices of maybe kind of masturbation rituals that could maybe like relax or like ease a little bit like this tension or anxiety connected to the mass extinction and
Go ahead.
all of those catastrophes that we are so anxious about.
I think that we need to talk individually, because
Okay.
we usually, like, we advise people and then we're very happy to give some, you know, directions, but we rather do it like in private, and we want to know a little bit more about your situation.
Explore the context and individual
Yes.
need. But masturbation with water is always an experience. Highly recommended and very pleasurable.
Then I will ask you after the official
please.
Q&A. Thank you.
We can even prescribe you something.
Skinny dipping is another extra super pleasurable thing to do with water. Yay. Dancing in the rain, just to name a few, and there are much more.
I have a lot, but or maybe you also wanted to ask more. So if If you'd like, yeah, there's time, I think. I'm not sure about the time though, but I'm sure there's more time for questions now.
Hi again. Oh, is it okay? I'm probably completely underestimating your research, but are you probably familiar with works of okay, two spectrum, like two sides of the spectrum, Mara Hart on one side and then Eva Hayward on the other? No?
I'm sorry, but I'm not.
Can you bring some more about Eva Hayward's research? I guess it rings a bell, but
Yeah.
it's about
She's dealing a lot with issues of like transness in connections with water, in connections with sensing. She's writing about polyps a lot. It's quite, no?
But there was some specific development of hers, like very famous things quoted often by the artists, which I cannot
Maybe like it
recall
was
now.
something about transcoalitional thinking. That was one of, and something with polyps in their eyes and
Eyes, yes,
yeah.
the eyes, the watery eyes or something like
watery
that.
eyes, touchy eyes, something
Yes,
like that.
Yes, it's still on my
Fingery
reading
eyes,
list. Yes.
fingery eyes.
Fingery eyes, exactly.
Somebody
Fingery
knows.
eyes, yes. But I'm sorry, it's still on my reading list.
No, it's, I
There are
mean,
plenty of PDFs. Yeah.
we also have fans on the other side. That's very nice. Do you want to also?
Yeah. You can expand so about the fingery eyes.
I mean, to make it short, it's like she's talking about a lot about like tentacular thinking, but they're not only into tentacular thinking, but like in seeing and touching with your eyes. So it's like the feeling you have with your eyes, the sensations of fingery. Like also like you touch something, but you see it at the same time, and you see something, but you touch it at the same time.
Well, thank you for bringing this idea into this conversation, because like, well, I have at this moment I'm working on the project of reinventing Saint Lucy, who was this martyr, and there's this Western Christian legend that she's according to this legend, she's very often depicted at the paintings without her eyes. Our eyes balls on the plate, and we with the Posthumanities Hub in Sweden, we want to make the multi-species version of the Saint Lucia on the 13th of December, which is a day celebrated by Swedes, the day of Saint Lucia, and it's like a very nationalized, I would say, understanding of Saint Lucy or Saint Lucia. And we want to make her patron of multisensorial research and speculative biologists. So thank you so much for reminding me about this idea. I have to read her paper. Thanks so much.
Hello, thank you for speaking here. I was thinking I could ask, how do you fight the reality that art is so heavy from capitalist machinery, that like you are supposed to make products and present yourself as also like in this machinery kind of, maybe that would be the first question. And the second question is like, for me it's very it's not so easy to find the connection between your sensual experience, like swimming naked in the sea, and digital art. Like, if you could maybe remind what is the connection for you?
So about the art market, I think we're not connected with the art market much. Even though I'm like represented by the gallery, who probably would like me to produce more things that is sellable. But
More babies.
or babies. The babies are not for sale.
Painting babies would sell
The
good, I
babies are not-
guess.
Yeah, I mean, we work with our hearts, so I don't care of what is sellable and what artists should do to monetize their art practice. So yeah, we don't care about it.
If I may add to this, what is really important, I guess, it's changing the art paradigm here from the one that is dictated by the markets and which is still dominating to the new paradigm, a new cultural paradigm that uses art as stimulate the action, the making new connections, making new imaginaries. I guess this is important to make this shift a reality from the art market to the new cultural post-human, more than human.
But also, I have a feeling that the situation in Europe maybe is not as bad as in the United States, where you don't have the public funding of the arts. So the art is super commercialized in the United States. In Poland, okay, now the most of the public institutions are taken over by the conservative right-wing representatives, but we hope after the election something gonna change. But still, I think that for public institution collection, they're into experimental art, It's not about only the product. They're looking for some good idea and the process, so yeah. And the second question, connection between the water and the technology.
Experience, the sensual experience of water and the digital art.
Mm-hmm. That's a tough question.
But it doesn't have to be direct connection,
But we also research things. We're really curious about what is the direct contact of the technology with the water. We know that there's many big tech company researching cooling the servers under the water, for example. So this context are really interesting for us. How is the tech is meeting with the water, because most of us thinking that, you pour the glass of water in computer and it's gonna, die, but not necessary. There's like some technology when the water is like implemented is very helpful. So there's this thing, but also, since the technology develops so much, we know, for example, much more about the deep ocean. We have this like really great 3D scanning that allow us to see what we weren't able to see, and also to understand and see how the global warming and ecological crisis is changing the water environment. So I see this maybe relation between the water and technology.
Yeah, but these are the toys of the marine biologists who are so ahead, So I guess the art is also needed in this context to help to communicate, to help to translate the ideas, but also not to be reduced to the role of translator, but also to stimulate our imaginations, etc.
I think also using the technology by the hydrosexual feminist is like reclaiming the tool. Like most of the technology,
from the technoscience,
has the horrible history. They're invented because of the military purposes, and then now the biggest tech company, they're using this technology in a horrible way. So I think that reclaiming these tools in this idea of making our world a little bit better, more pleasurable, but also I see in this something like very valuable, and then that's why we see the technology. We have the tools. Like the technology is so great, but because we were living in this like a post-capitalist world, we don't want to use the technology in the right way. We use the technology to build a profit, to make more money, and at the same time, to make this place even more destroyed. So maybe if we look at the technology in a different way, we use it in a different way, there's some hope to change the future or present.
Hi, I just thought when you were presenting the website, there was an idea because I saw a website called Low Tech Magazine, which is actually solar powered, and the website sometimes doesn't work because there's not enough
I
sun.
know that. We were also considering to use the server that is sun powered. Yeah.
But I thought that actually in your case it would make more sense to have it tidal powered, or like have it sea powered, or maybe put the solar panel on a buoy somewhere in the sea, accessible.
You think it's possible? I was researching only like solar power based servers. I don't know how it's work with the different methods.
Yeah, I'm not on the hardware hacking side, but I would imagine that it would be somehow possible maybe to combine solar and tidal and something like this. But my original question was actually more related to the ideas, because I thought that most of the connections which you mentioned were in somehow with visual arts, that it was connected with maybe like virtual reality, augmented reality things, or like objects, artifacts like the baby. And I come from a publishing collective, and we are now in the process of publishing Staying with the Trouble, and we are also going to publish something else somehow related to Donna Haraway. It's this book by Vincent Deprez, the autobiography of an octopus. And in both these there's speculative fabulation, and somehow I had the feeling that it in a way is not touching the question of sex. There's no eroticism in it, and I would be curious to see if you maybe see the possibility of there being like hydrosexual erotic literature, fiction, whatever, but somehow something which would go beyond just the visual arts or the kind of projects which are generated from the visual arts field.
But was it a question or like...
If we envision literature. And
well,
more like academic literature or scientific literature, but we weren't much inspired, honestly, by the literature.
Well, first of all, but you mentioned there is not enough sex in hydrosex, so this is like...
No. I meant there is no sex in... I don't know if you remember the last part of Staying with the Trouble, the story about Camille. It doesn't touch somehow anything sexual related. And the same thing goes with this other story, which is actually intertextually connected with this last chapter of Donna Haraway's Staying with the Trouble. And there's also nothing related to sex. It's all about ecology, extinction, language, writing, translation, and so on. But the issue of sex is completely left aside. There's no interspecies contact. And I would be curious to see if you envisage the possibility of there being hydrosexual literature.
Yeah, definitely. I think we should...
But we already have some examples in Poland of the hydrosexual literature. We have like the writer Agnieszka Szpila, who wrote the first ecosexual literature, like the book in Poland, Hexe. And her next book is like these are the short stories. It's called Octopussy, and it continues with the hydrosexual. So the literature is already there, I guess. But we haven't been working yet with the literary texts, I guess, with novels, with poems, and maybe manifesto is also a form of literature, I guess. So I guess the doors are open to make it even more transdisciplinary, to include literature, probably. So thank you for the inspiration.
Yeah, if I may, maybe this would solicit the question of participation and how people can join in. And also, if you're writing a story that would verge on the topics of hydrosexuality or the blue post-humanist science.
Yeah. Well, the question.
Option for
you. Well, you are all very welcome to become, like the members of the hydrosexual movement, but it depends whether and how you want to identify. I guess first of all, it's like a very simple and basic question, like how water brings a pleasure to my body, how I identify as a body of water, how I identify with this idea, whether I want to explore it through arts with other artists. So there are plenty of other initiatives who are hydrofeminists, I guess, and this sexual and erotic and sensual perspectives, they are, I guess, crucial for what we are doing with Justyna. So I guess first, like, exploring within yourself, whether you are hydrosex curious or, whether you maybe already be hydrosexual. Maybe these are the very fantastic moments with this eco-hydrosex coming out. There is a very nice part of a movie by Annie Sprinkle and Beth Stevens, Water Makes Us Wet, when they make Donna Haraway coming out as an ecosexual. They visit her in her house in Santa Cruz, and they interview, and they are so happy. If you could only see the expression of their faces when Donna Haraway says that, yes, I might be ecosexual. She expressed it in her language, in her terms, but it resonates. So Beth and Annie are very, very happy when they see. So we probably will also be very happy to see when people want joining us in this adventure.
Yeah, I will try to follow on that. For what I just learned from your speech is that I see that this hydrosex movement is very much very strongly connected to queerness and possibly even gender performativity. And my question is to both of you, and I know that Ewelina, you just positioned yourself as queer lesbian, and not sure about Justyna, but if somehow is there a way also for cisgender het people or person to somehow even also try to benefit, to learn from hydrosex movement, or because possibly for more performative gender or genderqueer persons, it seems like it's I don't want to say easy, but more for people that are maybe more open for it. So I want to ask if there is a way also for.
So I think what is great with the ecosexual movement or hydrosexual movement, it could be the sexual identity, but it could be like a second sexual identity for many people. So I think that, I don't know if it's a good explanation, but yeah, there's many people from different, could define in different way. There are cis people obviously taking part in the.
Heterosexuals are also welcome.
I mean,
because we all depend on water.
But also,
whether we are homosexual, heterosexual, asexual,
I think it's all fluid. So.
Yeah, it's important for all of us to identify how crucial water is for us to survive with others, not only in the small groups, in the small clubs of, small club of gay people or lesbian women, dykes, etc., but we are trying to find what we can share and how we can, make something together despite the differences.
Yeah, I think this is a very nice ending actually to the discussion, because I'm afraid our time is up. Or maybe one more question?
I just, maybe also to build up on the previous question, I just wanted to have this remark that certain people were actually refused their humanness. So for me it's very beautiful to look at more than human through the perspective of people who were not granted enough humanness, and they were actually not human enough to actually identify of what was considered as human, and I think queer people are part of it. So thank you for making this special inclusion. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so thank you very much for the questions. Thanks a lot for your fabulous talk, and please thanks to our wonderful cyber nymphs again.